Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining. Wishing you a very happy, very wonderful Krishna conscious Nityanand Triyodashi. Hopefully, this Nityanand Triyodashi, we understand the mood of Nityanand Prabhu. We develop more love and devotion towards him. We get his mercy, get his shelter, get empowerment and inspiration from him to do more devotional service in the coming years. So let's start with some prayers. Let's start with the Panch Tattva mantra. I think everybody knows that. So please start. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakt Vrinda. Then let's do some that are specific to Nityananda Prabhu. Can you see my screen?
No.
I don't know how to manage this new Zoom. It's being very tricky for me. Okay, here. Yeah, there you go. So let's. So one of the mantras is this is verses from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhu Shri Gaura Sundarao Jaya Nityananda Sarva Sevya Kalevara. What it means is that Mahaprabhu and Gaur Sundar is basically Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So please understand there are two different personalities we are talking about. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Lord Gauranga, or none other than Krishna himself. Okay, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandit, Gauranga, that's the name of the same personality. Okay, he is Krishna. But when Krishna comes, but Lord Balram also come, and Lord Balram is Nityananda. Okay, his another name is Nitai. So Nitai or Nityananda is the name of the personality who is none other than Lord Balram. Both Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, they came 500 years back. Basically, Krishna and Balram, they came 500 years back in this Kali Yuga. And their main goal in this Kali Yuga was not to kill the demons, not to kill any external demons, but to kill mostly the internal demons of our heart, and most importantly, to give Harinam, to spread holy names, to spread congregational chanting of the holy names in this Kali Yuga. Okay, so as you know, the Yug Dharma of this age is chanting of the holy names, Sankirtan Yagya, right? So every yuga, whatever the yug dharma is, one of the incarnations of the Lord comes and establishes that yug dharma. For example, the yug dharma of Satya Yug was dhyan, or sitting in meditation. So that was established by one of the forms of the Lord. Similarly, in Treta Yuga, fire sacrifice was the yug dharma. Okay, the yagya, the prescribed yagya for that age was fire sacrifice. That was established by one of the incarnations in Treta Yuga. In Dwapar Yug, deity worship or temple worship, Vigraha Seva, was the Yug Dharma or prescribed yagya, okay, for that age. And that was established by none other than Krishna himself. Yug Dharma or prescribed yagya for this age is Sankirtan Yagya, which means congregational chanting of the holy names. And that was started by none other than Krishna in the form of Gauranga and Lord Balram in the form of Nitai. So Gauranga and Nitai, or we can say Mahaprabhu and Nitai, Nityanand Prabhu, they established this Yug Dharma in Kali Yuga about 500 years back. Okay, they inaugurated this Sankirtan movement. These prescribed yagyas are very nicely given in our scriptures. Okay, even in Srimad Bhagavatam, the last canto, 12th canto, because remember, Bhagavatam came at the end of Dwapar Yuga to lead us into Kali Yuga. So towards the last cantos, Bhagavatam starts talking about Kali Yuga. So it also starts talking about the Yug Dharma of Kali Yuga, which is Sankirtan Yagya. Okay. Again, when we say yagya or yug dharma, basically it means the prescribed method by which one can attain liberation, or one can go back to Godhead. So in this day and age, in Kali Yuga, the congregational chanting of holy names is the only way. Okay, Hare Nam Eva Kevalam. This is the only way by which one can get out of this material existence in Kali Yuga. And other ages had different yagyas, different yug dharmas. Okay. Even though we do deity worship, even though we do fire sacrifices sometimes, even though people go sit in dhyan and meditation and whatnot, but still the yug dharma remains to be the chanting of holy names. And without chanting of holy names, there is no upay, there is no way for people to escape this material existence. So Nimai and Nitai, or Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, came to establish this yug dharma. Okay. So I'll give you some you can see some evidence from scriptures and some prayers. Okay, this is some prayers. So this prayer is saying, "Let me offer my obeisances to Lord Sri Nityananda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose opulence is wonderful and unlimited. By his will, even a fool can understand his identity." Okay. This is Nityanand Prabhu. Nityanand Prabhu, just like Lord Balram, always wears blue color. Okay, he always wears blue dhoti or blue uttariya. This is Nityanand Prabhu's pranam mantra. Nityanandam aham naumi sarvananda karam param harinama pradam devam avdhuta shiromanim. I bow down to the Supreme Lord Nityananda Prabhu, the crest jewel of all Avdhutas, who gives the topmost ecstatic bliss to all by freely distributing the holy names of Krishna. Okay, Hari Nam Pradam Devam. He is that form of the Lord Balram, when he comes in Kali Yuga and freely gives holy name to everybody. That personality is Nityananda, and to that personality, that crest jewel of all Avdhutas, I'm bowing down to that Nityanand Prabhu. Can anybody tell me what does word Avdhuta means? Often Nityanand Prabhu is referred to as Avdhut. What does the word Avdhut means? Other than Nagarchan Prabhu, who can tell me? So Avdhut basically means
Mataji, may I?
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna. Avdhuta is the adjective used to describe for a person who has no sense of their bodily awareness or anything. They are like a mad person, as we see in material world, like they have no awareness of where they are, how they're looking. With sometimes they have clothes, sometimes they have no clothes. They can put anything on their body. So that's what the Avdhuta category of sannyasi is described in the Shastra. Like we're totally unaware of their bodily awareness, and they're always in the consciousness of Hari. Like भगवान के ध्यान में हमेशा रहते हैं, उनको अवधूत बोलते हैं. This is my understanding, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, perfect understanding. Yes. So Avdhuta is like considered like a madman in this world because he has no bodily consideration, bodily understanding. So he's in complete Krishna consciousness, complete, always in ecstatic bliss. So they may so externally to ordinary people that are very much bodily oriented and very much attached to the customs and bodily traditions and whatnot, right? They cannot understand the mindset, the consciousness of these avdhutas. So avdhutas, not everybody is a legit avdhuta. Avdhuta or a mad person, they're very rare. Legit, the qualified avdhutas are very rare souls. But Nityanand is none other than Lord himself, Lord Balram himself. So, but when he came, he was like a madman. He was like a avdhuta, and it's often said that if let's say you have a very rich person, right? And that rich person, when let's say he got very intoxicated, let's say he drank a lot one night, and he started giving away his wealth to anybody, whoever comes across him, he starts giving his money to that person, he starts writing checks to anybody. Will you call that person a madman or not? So that's how Nityanand Prabhu is. He has this wealth of holy names and he wants to give it to everyone like a mad person, intoxicated in the love of Krishna. He does not consider yogyata ayogyata na vichare. Okay, he does not consider whether you're qualified or not. Patra apatra na vichare. Nahi sthan asthan. He does not look at the place, time, place, situation, people, whether that person deserves holy names, whether that person is qualified, whether they're educated, what is their gender, what is their caste, what is their color, what is their nationality, their creed. They do not consider any of those things. They do not have any of those considerations. They do not look at any of those qualifications. Everybody is qualified to receive Harinam. So such a person who's freely distributing his wealth and has no other consideration, that person is like a intoxicated person, a madman. So he was like an Avdhuta. So since he was like that, patra patra vichare nahi nahi stan asthan, jai jaha paya tahe kare premadan. So wherever he sees somebody, jai jaha paya, whoever he sees, wherever he sees, taha kare premadan, he will give love of Krishna. He was begging people, he was going door to door distributing holy names. And he would have, when people would refuse to take devotional service, he would fall at their feet. He would go to their houses with straw in his mouth. This is Lord Balram, the supreme Lord himself, the fountainhead of all incarnations. Remember, Lord Balram is the one from whom all incarnations comes, from all Vishnus come, all Purusha avatars, all plenary portions and portions of plenary portions, they all come from Lord Balram. This Lord Balram, in the form of Nityanand Prabhu in Kali Yuga, goes door to door with straw in his mouth, begging people to accept this process of Krishna consciousness, this devotional service. And he would have 5 streams of tears coming down his eyes if people rejected the holy names. He would fall at their feet, begging them to accept the holy names. So this is such a great personality. He had opened up. It is said that he was distributing holy names in the streets in such a way that they would call this is Nityanand Prabhu's marketplace of holy name. If somebody sets up a marketplace, like if you go to a market and people are distributing in farmers market all kinds of vegetables and whatnot, and they still charge you. But Nityanand Prabhu doesn't charge you anything. He had opened up the marketplace of holy names, and he was not charging anything. He was just giving it away freely, the love of Krishna to everyone. So this personality is who we are talking about today. And then these are some verses again glorifying Nityanand Prabhu. Sri Nityanand Prabhu is the topmost branch of the indestructible tree of eternal love of Godhead. I offer my respectful obeisances to all the sub branches of that topmost branch. He's the topmost branch, and everybody else comes after him. Sri Nityanand Prabhu is an extremely heavy branch of Sri Chaitanya tree. From that branch grow many branches and sub branches. The tattva of Nityanand Prabhu is, as you can see on the screen, none other than Lord Balram. So, does anyone know what is the difference between Lord Balram and Krishna? Are they same? They are different? Anybody wants to? Like, is there any? How
It's
do
like
we?
a expansion.
Hmm?
Lord Balram is expansion.
Yes. What number of expansion? Like first, second, third, fourth?
First expansion.
First expansion, maybe.
Yes. So very important to know, Lord Balram is the first expansion from Krishna. Okay. Krishna does not do anything. Krishna is in his dham enjoying himself. Okay. He is the supreme enjoyer. So he is the Purusha. The Purusha means topmost enjoyer. He is always enjoying with his devotees, exchanging beautiful relationships with them, intimate pastimes with them in his dham. The first expansion from that Lord Krishna is Lord Balram. All other expansions, okay, all the Narayan, millions of Narayanas, and come from Lord Balram. Each of those Narayanas are ruling millions of the Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual world, right? And then from these Narayanas comes, there is it's a very long list of incarnations that come. So there is something called first Chaturvyu, second Chaturvyu. I don't want you to get lost in it, but just remember millions of Narayanas comes. And then, as you know, there are 3 Vishnu avatars, Mahavishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Kshirodaksha Vishnu. They all come from also from Lord Balram only, okay, from Sankarshan, which is none other than Lord Balram. So I can show you that tree. This is the tree. I don't want you to get confused, but you can see on the screen, from Sri Krishna comes Lord Balram. From Balram comes the first Chaturvyuha, then comes millions of Narayanas, then comes second Chaturvyuha, which is Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. Main thing to know is that all the Chaturvyuhas, the Narayanas, and all the Vishnu avatars, they're all coming from Lord Balram only. So this Lord Balram is actually, when I ask you the question whether they are same or different, you will say that they are same. They are non-different. There is no difference between Krishna and Balram. They're same. They're same in their qualities. They're same in their opulences. They're same in their powers, their potencies, their energies, their prowess, their beauty, their skills. Everything is same. So, but in spiritual world, there can be many contradictions. So so they are not different. Okay, they are same,
Ah,
but yet there is some difference between Balram and Krishna.
yeah, Vishnuji, Shri Krishna, Lord Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, while Lord Balram is the supreme servant.
Oh, Hari Bol. Very wonderful, Mataji. Amazing.
Thank you, Mataji.
How did you hear this?
Mataji, I heard it from Prabhuji in last class of kids, so I sit with my son, so that's why I hear this difference.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful point. So yes, they are same, yet there are two key differences. One difference, and more important difference, Mataji mentioned that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and so he has what we call he that's why we say his lordship, right? He is the supreme lordship. He has the right to lord it over everyone. He can lord it over. We are fake enjoyers. We are trying to lord it over for no reason. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. Okay, he is the master, and Lord Balram is the supreme servant. Okay, so he is the supreme servant. He's called Adi Das. He's the original servant. So he has what we call Sevak Abhiman. Okay, Abhiman means Abhiman or Ahankar or ego, you can say. Remember that their ego is true ego, ours is false ego, ours is bodily ego. So they have the Ahankar, the Abhiman, and Krishna has Sevya Abhiman, means that he will enjoy the service. Okay, he will take the service. He is the master. And Lord Balram has the Sevak Abhiman. He is the supreme servant. He is the topmost servant. He serves Krishna. He serves Lord in all moods, in all forms. Whenever Lord comes, he serves him. Okay, all the servants come from Lord Balram, and Lord Balram renders all kinds of services to the Supreme Lord. Like, for example, when he comes in Treta Yuga as Lord Ram, so then Lord Balram comes as Lakshman, and he renders servant to Lord Ram as a younger brother, right? He takes Vanvas with him. He does not sleep. He does not eat for 14 years. He's making those thatched huts for Mother Sita and Lord Ram. He's doing all the hard jobs, right? All the hard jobs were given to Lakshmanji to do, like guarding Mother Sita, not letting her cross the Rekha, the Lakshman Rekha, let it stay, keep her there, or to drop her off to Valmiki ji's ashram. All the hard services were done by Lakshman. So he was serving in Treta Yuga in the form of Lakshman. When Krishna comes in Dwapar Yuga, then also Lord Balram comes in his own original form, and he serves in all kinds of rasas, right? He serves as in Shantras, he serves in Dasyaras, he serves in Vatsalyaras, he serves in Sakhyaras, he serves in conjugal or Madhuryaras, he serves in all rasas, all moods. So basically, Lord Balram does all kinds of services for Krishna in all kinds of rasas, all kinds of moods. I will not go into details, but I'm sure you understand that Lord Balram expands as everything. He is serving as a friend. He's teasing Krishna. He's playing games with him. He's playing tricks on him. He's also acting as an older brother. So he's in Vatsalya Bhav, also looking after Krishna, protecting him, complaining to Mother Yashoda about him कि इसने माटी खाई है, right? Remember that pastime? Lord Balram complained. So he happily complained to Mother Yashoda, इसका मुंह खोल के इसने माटी खाई है. And so all the time he's protecting him. He's serving in Dasya Bhav also. He's pressing his legs and looking after him. So, and then he's serving in Shantras also, because he expands as the dham. All our dhams, please remember, all our dhams, all our temples are expansions of Lord Balram. Okay, so the paraphernalia of Krishna, whatever Krishna wears, whatever shoes, padukas, whatever garland, whatever jewelry or clothes that Krishna wears, they're all expansions. The deity paraphernalia that you have in your temples, the altar of the temple, That is all um, expansion of Lord Balram. So all these, that's why we have to be very careful, because it's an offense to Lord Balram if we are offensive in the dham or in the temple or at the in front of the deities or in front on the altar. So you have to be very careful, because this is all none other than Lord Balram expanding his everything.
And there is one more difference, Mataji, that
Yes.
Balram always wears blue color cloth while Krishna always dresses in yellow colored, while Balram is like a whitish monsoon cloud complexion, while Krishna is a dark monsoon cloud complexion. You say?
Yes. Can we say, I don't think 3 times Haribol is sufficient. We have to say 5 times Haribol for Puja Mataji.
Oh,
Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol.
And for listening, joining in with the with your son, with Asher, to listen into the kids class. Oh, this is wonderful. And
yeah,
not
yeah.
not only joining, but also remembering the details. It's amazing. And then to share it in the class, this is all, I mean, this here is the mercy of Lord Nityananda, as you can see.
Okay, Mataji.
Mm.
We enjoy joining Prabhuji's classes as well, Mataji. We love listening to the Krishna stories and more details about Krishna. So we just love that. We sit there and we love to listen.
So I
I
think
persuade though my son. He wants to make it a more fun, so I just try to make him count all the ways it can be a more fun class.
and Mataji, this is how I also started. I was just listening with Navya. Seriously. So this is amazing. This is wonderful. And can we say 3 times Haribol for Nagarj and Prabhu also, for those wonderful kids classes? Haribol.
Haribol,
Haribol,
Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol.
Yeah, so the other difference, so the servant attitude and master attitude is the difference, and then the other difference Mataji said is in the complexion. Okay, so complexion is basically
I would like to also thank Sheetal Mataji for this idea, and she also does
yes.
conduct the kids classes.
So 3 times Haribol for Sheetal Mataji also. We'll be saying Haribol for many different
Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol.
So the second difference Mataji beautifully mentioned, complexion. So Nityanand Prabhu or Lord Balram is like a freshly formed spring cloud, which is whitish, like cotton white in color. And Krishna's color is like a freshly formed monsoon cloud, because it's full of water, so it's very dark and dense, ghanshyam color, right? Ghanshyam color, which is very dark, blackish color. So that's a freshly formed monsoon color. So spring cloud versus monsoon cloud, white or fair complexion or dark bluish complexion. But more important thing is the servant attitude. So because we are aspiring to be servants of the Lord, that's why Lord Balram is so important to us, because we want to be servants of the Lord. And then in Kali Yuga, he comes as Nityanand Prabhu. That same Balram that killed so many demons. Think about it. He was as Lakshman, he was like an angry young man. As Balram, he was always very, in very angry mood, or this mood of rage, right? He was killing, he cut off the nose of Shrupnakha, or he killed Dhenukasur, Pralambasur, so many demons he killed, Balawal demon, what was that? The gorilla.
Actually, I was thinking of a question I had when I was listening to your thing. This I did not mention in the class. So let's see if anybody knows this. We mentioned that Nityananda Prabhu keeps a straw in his mouth and goes to every house asking for people to take the Harinam. So they can think about any pastime about a straw and any forms of Nityananda?
Very important point, actually. You beat me to it, but it's important point. Very nice. So,
sorry, is it
yes,
the story which you narrated last time, Prabhuji, about Jagai Madhai? Are you asking about that?
No, this is a different one. I haven't mentioned it in this in the kids class.
I'll give everyone a hint. So we are talking about how Lord Balram is in an angry mood, okay? And Nityanand Prabhu, in the same person, when comes as Nityanand in Kali Yuga, is very merciful mood. Same person who killed all these demons as Lord Balram, comes as Nityanand Prabhu and is going door to door giving Harinam and asking for mercy in Jagai Madhai pastime. Even though Jagai and Madhai were such vile criminals, they tried to hurt him. Not tried, they hurt him. They threw a pot of in drunken stupor. They threw a pot of liquor at his head, and Nityanand Prabhu got hurt. And Mahaprabhu was going to kill Jagai Madhai, yet Nityanand Prabhu fell at the feet of Mahaprabhu to please spare them, not kill them. Same person who was killing so many demons, who's so angry, in so much rage, as Lakshman or as Balram, he's so merciful. He's sparing your faults and overlooking your crimes, your sins, and asking for forgiveness on your behalf from the Lord. So think about this contrast. This Nityanand Prabhu is keeping a straw in his mouth, going door to door. Straw is a sign of humility. Straw, when we walk on the grass, we walk on the straw, we trample it under our feet. So when we hold straw in our mouth, we are basically saying that I'm so fallen that you can trample all over me, that I'm ready to prostrate myself in front of you. You can walk all over me, right? That's what we are implying, that I'm very, very humble. I'm falling at your feet, just like you trample over the straw. You have every right to walk over all over me. That's what extreme humility. That's what that straw in the mouth means. But Lord Balram also had a pastime with straw in his hand. That's the pastime that Nagarjuna Prabhu is asking.
Okay, Mataji.
Mataji,
what
I
did
think
you do with this? Yes,
I
Prabhu.
think I know this, but I'm forgetting the name of the sage who he was saying the Mahabhagavat Katha suna rahe the. He was saying the Katha to all the rishi. But when Balaram was going on, Lord Balaram was passing by, it was like during the Mahabharat, when Mahabharat, Balaram has not taken the part in the Mahabharat. So he was going by that side, and that sage did not get up. So he said, you have all the knowledge of the Bhagavatam, and you are always, I'm just forgetting the name of that sage. So Rom Harspad, yes.
Rom Harspad. Yeah.
Rom Harspad. So he picks up a straw and actually give him the, basically उनका उद्धार कर देते हैं और फिर उन्हीं से उनका बेटा का जन्म करवा करके उनसे फिर आगे का भागवतम का कथा करवाते हैं.
Prabhuji got it.
So
again, 3 times Hari Bol. I think everybody's gonna get a Hari Bol in this class, in this session today. 3 times Hari Bol for Ravi Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
That personality was Rom Harshan Suta. Rom Harshan Suta is the father of Sut Goswami. So the same Sut Goswami who then spoke Srimad Bhagavatam to sages of Naimisharanya. So Lord Balram took a straw in his hand and he killed Rom Harshan Suta with the straw. And this Nityanand Prabhu is in a completely opposite mood, holding straw between his teeth, going door to door. So that's how merciful Lord Nityananda is. But I was basically emphasizing his service attitude, that this Lord, this source of all incarnations, humbles himself at the feet of ordinary jiva. And we who have nothing to our credit, we are so entrenched in our bodily identification and false prestige and small term, short time achievements or whatever. Not even anything, like it's so much ahankar and dambha and darpa or arrogance and conceit of this short-term bodily identification that we cannot humble ourselves in front of other devotees, what to say, in front of regular ordinary people, so we try to be the enjoyer, we try to be the lordship, we try to be the lords of this world, when the lordship himself comes and is humbling himself in front of ordinary people like this. So just to understand the contrast, like we're trying to get to that level of service, that level of humility, that level of surrender that Nityanand Prabhu has. And our situation is very, very dismal at this point when we are so full of bodily identification and false ego. That's what our acharyas were singing about. And when all the services are done, Lord Balram, he has served in all kinds of moods. He even serves in Madhurya Bhav. He comes as Anang Manjari. Anang Manjari is is Radharani's sister, younger sister. So she's one of the gopis. So he also serves in that mood, in Shringar Bhav to Lord Krishna. And when even all these services are done, he comes as Guru Tattva to save jivas. So he acts as Guru Tattva for jiva. So all your gurus, all your acharyas, all these Guru Varga that we have in our tradition, they are none other than expansions from Lord Nityananda. They are empowered by Nityananda. Without empowerment from Nityananda, nobody can make disciples. Nobody can, give a service attitude. So because service attitude is coming, he's the source of servitude. He's the fountain head of service. So all the service attitude is coming from him. So whatever service we are able to do, that strength, that Balram means spiritual strength. That strength comes from him. That service attitude comes from him. And the bliss that we enjoy in the service also comes from him. Balram. He gives the Bal, the spiritual strength to do services, and Ram means somebody who gives anand or joy when we do services. So even bliss and strength comes from him. So he's Guru Tattva to Jivas, he's Balram to Krishna, he's Lakshman to Lord Ram, he's Nitai to Mahaprabhu. Even he is the bed of Mahavishnu. He's Anant Shesh to Mahavishnu. So, and then he's our dhams, our temples. He's expanded as everything, everywhere we are. He's everywhere. So, and his only desire is to serve. So that's why we are talking about him, praying to him, and singing to him. But yeah, I just wanted to convey his mood, the personality that we're talking about.
And who was
Mataji,
Yes.
I have just additional. It was a question that Nagarchan Prabhuji asked me when we went for the mandir. Prabhuji, this is the reason when we go to the dham or temple, we leave our shoes little bit behind. We don't walk into it because this is one of the aparadh that is counted. So that day you asked me why. So I didn't tell you that day. So I thought, let me just share this with you.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. If the shoe area is kept inside, then I don't know what is right then. Inside means like
Yeah,
the
it's
main,
up
the
to, yeah.
Garbha, the actual deity room is one thing, but there are a lot of
What I have
temples.
heard, Prabhuji, like when you go to the dham or like any temple, just walk a little bit without the shoes. Because of our Western culture here, and we have the shoe room and everything inside, we don't have any kind of a shoe room. So I'm talking with reference to the Bharat temple. So
Makes
Bharat
sense.
temple, yeah.
Yes,
Definitely.
So here we don't have a Bharat temple kind of a
Standards.
architect. Yeah, the architecture is different here. So you may say that I'm over applying it, but after I heard it from the Sant, I thought, let me start doing it. It doesn't bother me.
That's a good point, Prabhu. Yes, thank you. And
Definitely.
also,
But
that is also a good point that walking barefoot also gets you spiritual energy in the temple versus, wearing socks and going versus walking barefoot. So that is also I've heard. Yes.
Yeah, but sometimes I over apply, Prabhuji, because it doesn't bother me any kind of a bodily thing I do. Like as you know, like I also take cold shower and all, so it doesn't bother me all those.
So yeah, definitely it's okay. It's the more austerity we can do, especially temple, we can walk bare feet, and dham we should walk bare feet. It's the same difference, right? We're keeping our shoes outside the house versus somebody will just keep them outside the temple room in the house, right? So better to keep them outside the house altogether. So same thing. It's the farther off you can, that's fine. And also with all these rules, it's basically whatever you're able to follow, your body allows, and we take those rules, impose those rules on ourselves, not on others. That's another rule with Vedic, especially in modern world. We never impose rules on others. Vedic rules, instructions, injunctions are first to be applied and followed by oneself, and other people, we just give them the principle, not so much the rules. Okay, I have a verse here from, this is, I think this is from one of the Puranas. So this says, Vedera pratigya rakhi baratare rukma varna vipras, sorry, Vedera pratigya Rakhi Bharatare Rukma Varna Viprasuta Mahaprabhu Name Nadiya Mataya Sange Bhai Avadhuta. I think I'm singing it a little wrong, little off key, but this is how it is. It's basically saying Vedera Pratigya. Vedas have taken this Pratigya or the promise, Rakhi Bharatare, that the son, Rukma Varna Viprasuta, the son of a Brahman bearing the name Mahaprabhu of gold, Mahaprabhu Name, of golden complexion, will descend with his brother, the Avadhuta Nityanand, okay, in Nadia Mataya, Sange Bhai Avadhuta. Bhai here, of course, they are not born as brothers. They are not born like as Ram and Lakshman or Krishna and Balram are. They are born in completely different times and different families and different cities altogether. But they are bhai again in a different way, that their purpose is same. They are waiting for each other to join hands to inaugurate this Sankirtan movement. They have overwhelmed all of Nadia with divine ecstasy. So Nadia is the district in West Bengal where Mayapur is, and they have basically inundated the entire Bengal, and then Puri and Vrindavan also, and then eventually the entire India, and finally the entire world was inundated with the holy names, with the divine ecstasy. And this is being predicted in the Vedas, that Mahaprabhu will come and Sange Bhai Avadhuta will come. His mad brother will also come. Ekai Swarupa Dohe Bhinna Matra Kaya. These two are one and same identity. They differ only in Kaya, in the form. Adya Kaya Vyuha Krishna Lilara Sahaya. Lord Balram is the first bodily expansion of Krishna, and he assists Krishna Lilara Sahaya. He assists in the Krishna's transcendental pastime. So he facilitates the pastimes of Krishna in different forms, different incarnations. Sarvavatari Krishna Swayam Bhagwan Tahara Dvitya Deha Sri Balram. Supreme Personality of Krishna, Godhead Krishna is the fountainhead of all incarnations, and Lord Balram is the second body. Then there are so many verses like that. I won't go into it. But yeah, basically, so I've not even covered the pastimes. I think we can, now that we understand the mood, we can continue maybe singing a little bit more if you're all okay. Unless somebody wants to discuss any pastimes or life of Lord Nityananda, we can discuss that. I just wanted to at least give a deeper understanding of Nityananda's tattva. What we discussed is the mood and the tattva. Okay, tattva means who he is, what is his identity. So his identity is that he is none other than Lord Balram, and his mood is that of a servant. And then there are so many numerous pastimes which we cannot cover, of course. So either we can do life of Nityanand Prabhu, or we can do pastimes, or we can share. Random people, devotees can take turns to share. But basically understand the mood is to spread holy names. He was given this instruction by Mahaprabhu. Both Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur were given the instruction to spread holy name by Mahaprabhu. He said, Mahaprabhu said, Shuna Shuna Nityananda, Shuna Haridas, Sarvatra Amara Agya Karaha Prakash, Prati Ghare Ghare Giya Kara Ei Bhiksha, Bolo Krishna Bhajo Krishna Kara Krishna Shiksha. So you know that Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur would go and visit Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. So they would stay there for long time. But Mahaprabhu, before Haridas Thakur joined Mahaprabhu full time in Jagannath Puri, Mahaprabhu gave this instruction to Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur that go to home and home. Prati ghare ghare giya. So they are following the instruction of Mahaprabhu. Again, remember Mahaprabhu is same as Krishna. So he said, Shuno Nityanand, Shuno Haridas, Sarvatra Amara Agya. It is my Agya, it is my order, my instruction. Karaha Prakash. So give light to everyone. Prati Ghare Ghare Giya. Go to every home. Kara Ei Bhiksha. So he's giving them the mood. Go with this bhikshuk attitude, with this attitude of humility, respect, this as a beggar. And what are you begging them? You're not begging them for alms. You're begging them to take something from you. You're begging them to take Harinam from you. You're begging them to take devotional service from you. So Kara Ei Bhiksha, Bolo Krishna Bhajo Krishna, Karo Krishna Shiksha. Go and do this Krishna Shiksha. So in this way, Haridas Thakur and Nityanand Prabhu just spread holy names upon this instruction. This was the instruction given to them. And they will go to each and every house and they'll say, Mukhe Hari Bol Bhai, Ei Matra Bhiksha Chahi. Like that, they'll sing. They'll constantly sing. The whole day they'll be singing Hari Nam in the streets and then door to door and in the marketplace. Very humbly. Okay. We can sing this song actually, Nadiya Godru mein. Ravi Prabhu, are you sharing something? Did you want to share something?
Mataji, I just recently learned that Nityanand Prabhu ji was the one who broke the sannyasi dand of Mahaprabhu. I mean, I had heard that, but I have not heard any details about it. Why that happened? It happened that we were reading the introduction of the Bhagavad Puran. That's where it's mentioned. So can you please shed some light on it? And I think Nadiya Godru mein Avni also wants to sing that bhajan after. So,
Oh, okay. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Let me show you some pictures of that place. I think did Rekha Mataji go there with us? Yeah, she went, I'm sure. So let me
Yes,
show you.
Mataji, Dandabanga.
Yes. Let me see if I can find it. So that place is called Dandbhanga. Beautiful pastime. So what happens there is, I'll just share the quick overview of that pastime. So Mahaprabhu had just taken sannyas, and they were Nityanand Prabhu was taking Mahaprabhu supposedly towards Vrindavan. But as you know, that he never took Mahaprabhu towards Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan, but Nityanand Prabhu took him towards Shantipur, which is in Mayapur. So instead of going, instead of going to Vrindavan, they were going towards. Can't seem to find this place. They were going towards. Oh, I'm in the wrong.
So yes, so Shantipur was he took him to Shantipur, that is Advaita Acharya's place, and over there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got the sannyas, took sannyas over there.
No, he had already taken sannyas, and they were going to Vrindavan. No, Mahaprabhu didn't take sannyas in Shantipur. Mahaprabhu was already a sannyasi, and they were supposed to go to Vrindavan.
Oh,
But instead of going to Vrindavan, he took him to Shantipur. On the way, this village came. I'm trying to find the pictures, so I'm simultaneously trying to do a couple things. The village was called Dandbhanga village. The reason that village is called Dandbhanga is because that's where that's where Nityanand Prabhu broke Mahaprabhu's danda, sannyas danda. I can't find it. Give me a few seconds. I'll find it. It's hard to talk and. So what happened is Mahaprabhu gave his danda to Nityanand Prabhu to hold, and I think he went away for a little bit. He was accompanied with many associates, and Nityanand Prabhu had Mahaprabhu's danda. Now you know Nityanand Prabhu is a madman. He's a Avdhut. Okay, he did not agree. To him, this sannyas danda represented that Mahaprabhu, this supreme personality of Godhead, this cause of all causes, this source of all sources, this Param Purushottam Bhagwan, who's none other than Krishna himself, who has come to this Kali Yuga, come to this world out of his causeless mercy, purely just for the deliverance of all fallen souls. Even if he takes, first of all, he thinks that he should not have to take sannyas. But even if he's following the customs of this world and has taken sannyas to become more authentic in this world, because people in this world uh, really like external titles and this honorific titles and things. So people would pay more attention to a preacher who's a sannyasi, who's wearing saffron and holding a danda, rather than a grihastha. So Mahaprabhu was preaching as a grihastha, but his preaching was not very effective as a grihastha. Okay. So it came to people would offend him. One of the Brahman, one of this caste Brahman, basically cursed Mahaprabhu. So this, all this kind of stuff is going on, right? People did not understand his mood. His mood is of purely of madhurya bhav, in pure love of Radha and Krishna. So they did not understand when he would go into trance and saying the names of gopis in his trance, right? Ordinary people did not understand, and Mahaprabhu is a grasta at that time. So Mahaprabhu saw the need that even though in Kali Yuga sannyas is not recommended, maybe I need to take sannyas for my preaching to be more effective. Maybe in order for me to spread holy names, in order for me to be taken seriously in this world, because people pay more attention to those that have these external titles and appearance and proper clothes, right? So if I'm in grahastha vesh, if I'm not wearing saffron, if I'm not holding a sannyas danda, if I'm not a sannyasi, I will not be taken as seriously by these caste brahmins. So it's the need of the hour that my externals also align with my internals. So he took sannyas, okay, as the need for that time. Which is what later on, as you know, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj and our dear Prabhupada also did as the part of the need of the hour. Even His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj also. These people really did not want to take sannyas. They were basically told by their associates and by their teachers that if you want to be more effective in your preaching, then you need to take sannyas. So sometimes we have to do these things to please outsiders, to please people that are more attached to the external titles and appearances. And so he took sannyas. So to Nityanand Prabhu, this sannyas danda represents the fact that he has to follow the rules and regulations of this world, because danda basically means we are three. So in our tradition, the sannyasis are three dandi sannyasi. Three dandi means there are three in the sannyas danda, like you have seen His Holiness Keshav Maharaj, right? He's holding a danda, very long danda. The danda has three small dandas connected together, so they are called three dandi sannyasis. Each danda represents surrender to the Supreme Lord in body, mind, and words. Okay, one danda for body, one danda for mind, one danda or rod for words. Okay, these three rods are combined together, and that's how our sannyasis are three dandi sannyasis. So this basically represents, just like I wear white coat when I go to work, right? So that represents that I have a medical degree, that I am MD, that I have completed medical school, that I have taken the oath to serve my patients, right? I will not do any harm. I have taken that oath that first do no harm. So I have my oaths, my vows as a doctor are very clear to me. So I have taken certain vows. Similarly, that danda represents that a sannyasi has taken certain vows of complete surrender to the Supreme Lord. So, to Nityanand Prabhu, this danda is an insult to Supreme Lord, who is a Supreme Lord himself. He does not need to conform himself to the rules and regulations of this world. First of all, he has come here out of his complete causeless mercy. Then he should not be forced to follow the rules of this world. So Nityanand Prabhu feels that why should my dear Lord, my Krishna, be forced to follow the rules of this world? Why should he have to hold this danda in order for his preaching to be effective? Why does this external thing represent his internal? This is not indicative of his internal mood and devotional service. I do not want him to conform to the traditional standards just to please the caste Brahmins or to the ordinary people that do not understand his internal mood. He's Krishna in the mood of even better mood than the Supreme Lord himself, because he's in the mood of Radharani actually. Who are these people of this world to judge him based on his clothes and danda? So I do not accept this. I do not accept that he should have to hold this danda. So this danda is a sign of um, some kind of um, you know like Mahaprabhu having to prove himself to this world, prove his surrender to Krishna through this danda. So Nityanand Prabhu broke that danda while Mahaprabhu was gone, and then he threw it in Ganga. Okay, and when Mahaprabhu came back, okay, where is my danda? He said, I fell on it and it broke, and we threw it away. He said, I fell on it, broke it. So this place, this pastime is called Dandabhanga, pastime, and this place is called Dandbhanga village, where Nityanand Prabhu broke the danda. And when Mahaprabhu found out that actually my danda didn't, nobody fell down, it didn't fall, it didn't break by accident, he broke it. Then Mahaprabhu was not very happy with Nityanand Prabhu, and he separated himself from the group, and he said, "I'm going to walk separately." And he went in front of everybody, like he separated himself from the crowd, from the group, and ran towards Jagannath Puri himself. When they were going towards Puri, this pastime happened. So this place is close to Jagannath Puri. This is the pastime, Prabhuji. I was trying the PowerPoint that I sent to Mataji. I think that had all the pictures, and I'm trying to pull.
When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going through forests of Jharikhanda then himself, when he separated after this?
This is I remember this is when he was going to Jagannath Puri. That's why this place is so close to Jagannath.
Jharikhanda was at a different time.
That's part of Madhya Leela.
Okay.
Thank you, Mataji. I think after this, he became angry with Nityananda Prabhuji and he told him not to go with him anymore. And that's how he continued alone to the Jagannath Puri.
Yes, true.
Thank you, Mataji, for shedding some more light and enlightening us.
Okay, I found it. I found the... anyone wants to start singing meanwhile? I'll put the pictures. I don't want to take up all your time from Kirtan. We have, of course, Nityanand Prabhu has so many pastimes that I don't think we'll have time to cover those. Please, let's sing. Let's Avni sing Nadia Godru mein. I'm just going to pause this for a second.
Or I can sing the Boro Sukhar Ka Bolka, whichever.
We'll finish with that if that's okay. We'll finish by 11:30 if that's okay. Let's for 10 minutes discuss, 10 minutes more singing, and then we'll stop. We're just trying to do a proper program like we would have done as a home program, but since the weather is not, we have this Adi Devik misery, we are not able to hold a home program, so we were just using the tools of Kali Yuga in devotional service. So thank you for giving your time for this program. This is the Sankirtan movement that Mahaprabhu and Nityananda inaugurated. So we are participating in the Sankirtan movement, nourishing our devotional lives. So thank you for participating so actively.
Actually, Pooja Mataji, would you like to share anything about life of Mahaprabhu? If you heard yesterday, maybe she can share.
Actually,
or of Nityanand Prabhu, sorry.
Nityanand Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji, all I heard from you last class about the Jagai and Madhai. So this is my realization that how he was so compassionate and kind towards the unkind people as well. So nothing much, but can I sing Narsimha Aarti if that's legible here, valid here? Narsimha Aarti.
Yes, Mataji, let's sing it at the end. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure, Mataji.
Okay. Nagarjuna Prabhu, you want to share? And then I'll share some things.
Yes, Hare Krishna. So just discussing about the law. Sorry, I got muted. Okay. So yeah, just sharing something about life of Nityananda Prabhu. So Nitai or Nityananda Prabhu, he was born in the Ek Chakra Dham, and he was born in around 1483, so close to that time. He was older than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I think 7 years.
No, several more, like maybe 13, 14 years.
12 years maybe then. Okay, so he was older than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and initially he stayed in the Ek Chakra or Ek Chakra Dham for his initial 12 years of life. He was born to Hadai Pandit and Padmavati. Those were his parents, and Hadai Pandit was very, very attached to Nityananda Prabhu. Just like, we remember Dashrath Maharaj was very attached to Lord Ram, like that, Hadai Pandit also was very attached to Nityananda Prabhu. And when he was, there are many childhood pastimes of Nityananda Prabhu, which are very wonderful. And his favorite pastime during his childhood was to enact the scenes from Krishna Leela. They will become different demons, and they will enact the pastime of Putna, Aghasur, all these pastimes. His favorite one was to enact the pastime of Lord Ram and Lakshman. So he would become Lakshman, and people would be very surprised that he would talk about details of the pastimes with such authority that people who had read even Ramayana and all these scriptures didn't know about these details. So they were left wondering, one, he hasn't read all this. How does he know about all this? And that is, that is because he was just playing his own part. He will say that, or they will ask him that, how do you know this? And he would say, well, it was me. That I'm just playing my own part. I was Lakshman. So, so I know the details of what I did. So like that, he used to have pastimes. There's one famous pastime when he actually was enacting the fight between Indrajit and Lakshman, and then he passed out. Like in the actual Ramayana, when Indrajit hit Lord Lakshman with an arrow, with a particular arrow, he passed out, and they thought that the war is going to be over because Lord Ram will not be able to continue once Lakshman dies. So everybody was very morose, and then then in Ramayan, Hanumanji had saved the day by bringing the Sanjeevani booty and saving Lakshman. So here what happened when they were enacting the pastime, similarly when he was shot by the so-called arrow, he just laid down and he looked like he was not breathing and nobody could wake him up. So all the kids tried, they called the parents, the whole eight chakra was very, very, was very dear to the whole eight chakra, all the residents of eight chakra. Just like, we hear about how Krishna was the apple of the eye for Vrindavan. Similarly, in eight chakra, the Nityananda was very, very loved by everyone.
I have Eight Chakra's picture on the screen.
Oh yes, thank you. So that's from the Eight Chakra Dham. That's where is the birthplace of Nityananda Prabhu. And
let's when you finish, I want to take turns for different people. Like maybe Sheetal Mataji, Ravi Prabhu want to share something also.
okay.
So yeah.
So just then I'll just finish this pastime. So at that time, he was not getting up, and finally they had the boy who was playing Hanuman remembered that he had said that you will bring me the Sanjeevani, and that's when I will get up, right? So like that they enacted that part. He said, okay, let me bring something and show it to him as this is Sanjeevani. And they did that, and lo and behold, he got up. So it was a very interesting, famous pastime of Nityananda, Lord Nityananda in childhood. And then he was taken away by Brahmana for yatra. He asked the parents, Hadai and Padmavati, Mother Padmavati, in alms. He asked for his son. So in Vedic culture, when a Brahmana asks you something, they were not supposed to refuse if they could do it. So like this Brahmana who came to their house, he asked that I'm getting old and I need to do this yatra and I need your son for it. And of course, this is a pastime, and that Brahmana knew that this is no normal boy. But we can see the comparisons between, how Dashrath Maharaj had to, Valmiki, Vishwamitra had come to take Lord Ram, and he had to go, and Lord Dashrath was very sad at that time. And similarly, Hadai Pandit actually, he also left his body after Nityananda left. And he went like this for 20 years on a pilgrimage.
And let's see if somebody else wants to share.
Sure.
I just want to make sure different people get turns. Sheetal Mataji, you want to share something? whatever you've heard recently. Or
Hare Krishna Mataji, I don't have much, but I know that when Nityananda Prabhu like started his pilgrimage, one of the places he visited was Vakreshwar, and like he traveled a lot, like to a lot of places of pilgrimage. He's gone to Baidyanath Dham, Gaya. He's gone to Kashi, Mathura, Vrindavan, and everywhere like he had exhibited a lot of ecstasy and emotions in these places where they were connected with all his pastimes in the past. But a lot of people kind of did not necessarily understand what was especially the non-devotees, like why he was showing this kind of symptoms. But from what I have read, like he's gone to a lot of places like Dwarka, Kurukshetra, Ayodhya, and so on and so forth, Mataji.
That's true.
Yeah.
So from Nagarjuna Prabhu's, just to summarize the life of Nityanand Prabhu, that he's born several years before Mahaprabhu, so he's about 13, 14 years older than Mahaprabhu. In Ek Chakra Dham, he was the darling of all the people of Ek Chakra, very dear to his parents, and he was enacting all these pastimes just like children do. But his pastimes were very much detailed, even though nobody had taught him, he had never read them. Those pastimes were very detailed. And so one of his famous lines as a child is that these are my pastimes, because he would portray Lakshman or Balram very much in detail. There were a lot of details and descriptions given by him to the pastime. So people would ask him, "How do you know this? Has anybody taught you this? Have you read this somewhere?" He said, "No, I know this because these are my pastimes." So because this is him doing it again, enacting them again in this age. And then Nagarjuna Prabhu mentioned about how a sannyasi came, like a traveling monk, basically some kind of traveling sannyasi came. Some people say that his name was Lakshmipati Tirtha. It's confusing. We're not sure who exactly came. It's often said that it was Lakshmipati Tirtha who came to take Nityanand Prabhu from Ikchakra Dham, and very reluctantly his parents let him go, because traveling sannyasis used to need an assistant to take care of them on the road. They had a lot of need, somebody to assist them with begging alms and taking care of them in the night, or getting them some basic amenities and facilities so they can do their bhajan properly. So they needed an assistant. So often the mendicants will travel with a servant. So he requested their son Nityanand Prabhu to be his servant, that traveling sannyasi. And the parents had no choice, because like Nagarjuna Prabhu said, in those days whatever a sannyasi requested, the grahasthas would give. It was an offense, to refuse a sannyasi, to turn him away. So they gave Nityanand Prabhu. And then Mataji mentioned that he traveled everywhere. So she was talking about he traveled everywhere. Like Mataji was saying, he's traveled from north to south of the country, from Badrika Ashram to Kanyakumari, and from Dwarka to Jagannath Puri. So from east to west, from Pandharpur to Jagannath Puri, Dwarka Dham, Kurukshetra, Badrika Ashram, Kanyakumari in the south, everywhere. And during his travels he met a lot of sannyasis, and one of the most important personality that he met during his travels was his spiritual master, whom he met in Vrindavan. So Nityanand Prabhu, right now what he's doing during all this traveling is he's waiting for Mahaprabhu to first of all Mahaprabhu to be born. Once Mahaprabhu was born, Nityanand Prabhu knew that Mahaprabhu has appeared. Remember, they are in different cities altogether. But Nityanand Prabhu knew that he has appeared. Krishna has appeared. And just like in Krishna Leela, Balram comes before Krishna to make everything nice for Krishna's pastimes, to make the whole platform for Krishna's Leelas very convenient, very comfortable. All the associates start coming before Krishna comes. Similarly, in Mahaprabhu's Leela also, all the associates started coming before Mahaprabhu actually came. So Nityanand Prabhu came before, Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur, they were all older than Mahaprabhu. They all came, Srivas Thakur, they all came. All the Panch Tattva came before the Mahaprabhu came, and many other associates also. So they were all setting the scene for Mahaprabhu or for Krishna to appear. And another, and so when Nityanand realized that Mahaprabhu has appeared, it is described, he roared like a lion, just say hunkar bharte hai na, say he roared like a lion, with joy, with anticipation that now my Krishna has come and he's going to he's going to inaugurate the Yug Dharma for this Yuga. That is a very big deal, that Krishna has come and he's going to establish this Yug Dharma. So he roared with like a lion that day when Mahaprabhu appeared. And then he was still biding his time, because Mahaprabhu then grew up, and then very much later in life, Mahaprabhu inaugurated the Sankirtan movement. So Nityanand was waiting for Mahaprabhu to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement. So till then he was traveling and doing many other things, and he spent a lot of that time in Vrindavan actually. So in Vrindavan, he met this great personality who's one of our foremost acharyas of our tradition. Does anyone know the personality that he met?
Advaita Acharya?
No.
Okay.
Advaita Acharya he was not in Vrindavan. Advaita Acharya is in Bengal or in Mayapur. So who I doubt
Mahavendra Puri?
you have the name right, you're just pronouncing it wrong. So Madhvendra Puri.
Madhvendra, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, Haribol. So 3 times Haribol for Rekha Mataji. I'm trying to get all the Haribols for different people.
Hari bol, hari bol.
Hari bol, hari bol.
Actually, you said it, Mataji, when you were describing the pastimes, you had mentioned it. So,
Did I?
yes, Mataji.
Okay, okay. I thought I was.
As a spiritual master, you had said, yeah.
So he met his spiritual master, Madhvendra Puri. Okay, so
Yeah,
then next.
yeah, Mat.
And I think you also shared the article yesterday. Was it yesterday or day before yesterday?
Probably yesterday from Guru
Yes.
might have come. Yeah. So Madhvendra Puri. Okay, this is very important fact about Madhvendra Puri. So in our tradition, Madhvendra Puri is considered one of the very preeminent acharyas. You know, just like Prabhupada is considered preeminent acharya because he took the Krishna consciousness movement to the West, right? So when one of the acharya does something very revolutionary in that tradition, in that line, in that disciplic succession, they start something new or something very different, right? Very unique, which was new to even for that tradition, very contemporary or modern even for that tradition. Then that acharya is considered a very preeminent acharya, right? Founding father of something. So that's how Madhvendra Puri was. Madhvendra Puri, up till Madhvendra Puri's time, the conjugal mood of devotional service, the Madhurya Bhav of devotional service, was not very prominent or not very much talked about, not very much revealed by the previous acharyas. Okay, previous acharyas had not really talked or about it, or uh, revealed it in their own mood, or written about it, or manifested through their own pastimes. But Madhvendra Puri was the preeminent, one of the foremost acharyas of our Vaishnav tradition, of this Gaudiya Sampradaya, who, from coming in the line of Madhvacharya, who gave prominence to this conjugal mood, this Gopi Bhav. Okay, so this Gopi Bhav became prominent after Madhvendra Puri very much. So he highlighted how we are all aspiring to be the servants of Krishna in the mood of gopis, in the mood of manjaris. Okay, and this conjugal mood was depicted also to Nityanand Prabhu. They exchanged this type of stories and Krishna's pastimes with each other. They would sit and relish those pastimes together in Vrindavan for many, many hours together. It is described that they will discuss this. And Madhvendra Puri became the spiritual master of Nityanand Prabhu in Vrindavan. So in Vrindavan, Nityanand Prabhu used to sit at a place called Shringar Vat, or also called, now it is called Nityanand Vat actually, where Krishna used to do his Shringar Leela with Radharani. In that place, Nityanand Prabhu would spend a lot of time and he would hear these conjugal pastimes from Madhvendra Puri. So this is one of the things I wanted to mention here. Remember, Madhvendra Puri is the one who's associated with the Shir Chor Gopinath pastime and Gopalji pastime, Gopalji DT, and gave mercy to Madhvendra Puri by appearing to him, and in Govardhan and Shir Chor Gopinath also. Also, Madhvendra Puri is a spiritual master of which other personalities? Can you name at least?
Advaita Acharya?
Yes. Hari Bol once more.
Hari
Thank
Bol,
you.
Hari Bol,
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol.
Hari
Advaita
Bol.
Acharya. One more personality. Did I say?
Ish.
No. Yes. I didn't say. Yes, Mataji.
Is
Hari
it
Bol Mataji also. Ishwara Puri. So,
Ishwara Puri, yes.
so three personalities,
Yeah.
spiritual master. But yeah, Hari Bol from Sheetal Mataji before we go on. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
So yeah, Advaita Acharya, spiritual master, Ishwara Puris and Nityanand Prabhus. And Ishwara Puri is spiritual master of
Mahaprabhu.
Mahaprabhu. Yes. So in this way, the Advaita Acharya, Nityanand Prabhu are the god brothers of Ishwara Puri, right? Because they're all from the same guru. Yeah. So they are sort of in a way senior to Mahaprabhu. In Tattva, they are considered senior sort of, but we know that their mood is of being subservient to Mahaprabhu. In the Leela, in God Leela, you will see that they're always acting as servants of Mahaprabhu. Even though in age Mahaprabhu is younger, but remember that he's none other than Krishna. So even if Krishna is younger, doesn't matter. He's always Krishna. So he was waiting for Mahaprabhu to start the Sankirtan movement, and then he met Mahaprabhu when Mahaprabhu finally started the Sankirtan movement. Until then, Mahaprabhu was also in the mood of a like a scholar. He was called Nimai Pandit because he was more into debates and grammatically analyzing the Sanskrit of the scriptures, and in that kind of mood. He was more in like Gyan type of mood. Okay, so this is a little bit about the life. Of course, we can keep talking about the life, and then, of course, how he got instructions from Mahaprabhu. Nityanand Prabhu is not a sannyasi; he's a grahastha. Actually, he had two wives. Do you know the name of the wife that is one of our
Vasudha Devi, I guess.
Vasudha Devi? I don't know that name.
Janava?
Yes, Janva Mata.
Okay.
Janva Mata. So Janva Mata is the wife of Nityanand Prabhu, who after Nityanand Prabhu left was preaching in Vrindavan. So Janva Mata's Betak can be found at the banks of Radhakund. So it's right next to, almost outside Raghunath Das Goswami's Bhajan Kutir. Outside of that is Janva Mata's Betak, and there all these acharyas. What am I saying? All these acharyas, Betaks, and their samadhis are there at the Govardhan, in Radhakund, close to Radhakund. So, okay, and then who can say some of the disciples of Nityanand Prabhu? Can somebody name some of the disciples of Nityanand Prabhu? Name at least one disciple of Nityanand Prabhu. Nagarjun Prabhu, you want to mention?
Hare Krishna. I'm not sure. I'll have to guess.
Yeah. You will guess it. I'm sure if anybody wants to guess, I think you will get it right. Sheetal Mataji.
Raghunath Das.
Jagai Madhai.
Who said that?
I like Jagai Madhai.
Yeah, Jagai Madhai.
That's very interesting.
Me, Madhai.
Very interesting. I have not heard that, but yeah, wow, why not, right? No, but there is a legit disciple of. So Raghunath Das Goswami was inspired. So very important pastime. Let's not go into it if that's, because I don't want to confuse with too many pastimes. All the our acharyas have so many pastimes with so many devotees. So I don't want to go into the pastime with Raghunath Das Goswami. He, of course, Nityanand Prabhu inspired Raghunath Das Goswami and can be considered the teacher. But still, for the six Goswamis, the spiritual master is considered Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But there is one personality for whom Nityanand Prabhu is the spiritual master. So
Godupal Goswami?
Who?
I don't think I'm saying it right.
Lochana.
Kaviraj Goswami.
Okay, Krishna Raj Kaviraj Goswami.
Kaviraj Goswami. So he's the author of
Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Chaitanya Charitamrita.
And now, if you know the author of Chaitanya Bhagavat, which was the book we were supposed to read and we never got around to, I had all the 3 khands open. Then you will know the name of the other disciple also. So one book of Chaitanya, so he basically, Nityanand Prabhu has inspired 2 authors to write 2 main biographies of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He inspired Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and he wrote Chaitanya Charitamrit. He inspired another writer, another disciple who then wrote Chaitanya Bhagavat. He is considered the Vyasadeva of Kali Yuga. Who is the Vyasadeva of Kali Yuga that wrote not Srimad Bhagavatam but Chaitanya Bhagavat? Who is that disciple? And he's a disciple of Nityanand Prabhu.
Jiva Goswami.
Vrindavan Das.
Vrindavan Das Thakur. Mataji, did you know that?
Mataji's several classes, like last year, you had told us about it.
And you remember that? Wow.
Yes.
That is amazing. 3 times Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Bol.
So Vrindavan Das Thakur. Okay. Vrindavan Das Thakur wrote Chaitanya Bhagavat. He's considered the Ved Vyas of this Kali Yuga. Okay. So if you read Chaitanya Charitamrit, you will see that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami keeps saying many times, don't read my book. Read Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Bhagavat. And whatever he has not written, whatever is left over, I'm trying to just write those things. So basically, he's encouraging you to read that book in his book. This is the greatness of our acharyas. And what does Vrindavan Das Thakur do in Chaitanya Bhagavat? He keeps saying over and over again. You will see, I'll show you, since we couldn't read, I'll just show you at least the chapters in various khandas of Chaitanya Bhagavat. He keeps saying that I am not able to spend too much time on Mahaprabhu's Leela. This is Chaitanya Bhagavat, but he's not spending time on Chaitanya Leelas. He says because a lot of time has gone in describing Nityananda. So he keeps coming back to his own guru. He keeps talking about Nityanand Prabhu rather than talking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that much. So that is the beauty. But Chaitanya Bhagavat is a beautiful book. Let me show you. This is Adi Khanda. You can see Nityanand's childhood pastimes and travels to holy places.
Chakradham's picture.
Oh. Okay. Sorry. It's being tedious today with this. So this is Adi Khanda or Adi Leela. And then, anyways, it's not changing quickly enough for me. For this, in the second one, the in Madhya Khanda, characteristics of Nityananda, the glories of Nityananda, the deliverance of Jagai and Madhai, and then there are so many chapters, like chapters full of Nityananda's glories. Childhood pastimes, glories of Nityananda. So many prayers after prayers to Nityananda in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Anyways, we can maybe take up the reading of Chaitanya Bhagavat at some point. So I'll pause here. I think, of course, there are so many, in your own time, you can read or hear about the Dahi Chida festival, which is where the interaction of Nityanand Prabhu happens with Raghunath Das Goswami, how inspired Raghunath Das Goswami and how he got him the mercy of Mahaprabhu. That whole pastime is called the Dahi Chida pastime. It happened at a place called Panihati. You can read about that or hear about that.
He called him thief.
Sorry?
Is it there itself? Is this the pastime in which he calls him thief?
Yes, he calls him thief, yeah. Then the pastime of Jagai Madhai also you can read in detail. And there are so many others. How he inspired Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, why Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami left his home and came to meet Nityanand Prabhu, and then he spent rest of his life writing Chaitanya Charitamrit at the banks of Radha Kund. That was under the guidance of Nityanand Prabhu. How that's a very big pastime. That's a whole pastime, how that happened. What made Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami leave his home. So we can hear about that also. So there are many pastimes of Nityanand Prabhu bestowing mercy on many devotees. Basically, bestowing mercy means bringing them to the feet of Mahaprabhu, bringing them to the feet of Krishna. So that's what Nityananda Ram does. He brings us to the lotus feet of Krishna. And we can pray to him on this day to give us spiritual strength, empowerment, bliss to empowerment to perform services, bliss when we perform services. Um, may his expansions, Guru Tattvas, come in our life and enlighten us. May we take shelter of those gurus. May we reach the feet of Radha Krishna and participate in the Sankirtan Yagya through his mercy.
Mataji? Yeah, Jai Mata, Hare Krishna. Mataji, I may have missed something. I just want to know that maybe in Prabhuji's class also I missed maybe. Why is this day so special, Trayodashi? Is this the enlightenment day of Lord Nityananda or the appearance day? What it is? We are glorifying him.
He appeared. So
He
when
appeared. Okay.
appeared means birthday. So for us, we say birthday. For ordinary people, we say birthday because we take birth. We get a body that day. That day is called birthday. But the Vishnu Tattva means Lord or Lord's forms, Lord's expansions. They come of their own free will. They appear of their own free will in this world out of their causeless mercy, out of their pure mercy. They don't have to come. They don't have to come here at all. They are not forced to get a body or forced to do any work in this world, but they just appear. So that's why their day, day they appear in this world, is very, very merciful to us. That day is very wonderful. It's extraordinary that Lord has come, or his forms or his expansions have come in this world. So that day is called appearance day for that particular form or expansion of the Lord.
All right. Thank you, Mataji.
Like Janmashtami is Krishna's appearance day, Radha Ashtami,
Right.
Radharani's appearance day, and of course, Ashtami, Triyodashi, like Narsingh Chaturdashi. So that means 14th day, right? So that those are calculated according to the lunar cycle in the Vedic system. Lunar cycle means according to the waxing or waning of the moon. The moon increases in size for 14 days and then decreases in size for 14 days.
Right.
On the 11th day, Kadashi falls. 13th day is Triyodashi. 14th day is Chaturdashi. Ashtami is 8th day, right? Like that.
All right. Thank you. Get it, Mataji.
So these days when Lord comes, it's very rare that Lord will come, and if he comes, we celebrate those days. So in world, people celebrate their own birthdays or the birthdays of their loved ones, but that's not such a big deal. That we were forced to get a body, we were forced to suffer in this world when we got that body. So with every passing year, our duration of life decreases. We are suffering more and more in that body because the body declines. Yet we celebrate those birthdays with so much pomp and show and whatnot. But the Lord's appearance is very extraordinary. It's remarkable, that Lord comes when he doesn't have to come. It's a show of his mercy, supreme mercy on us. So those days are more dear to the devotees than their own birthdays, because those are the days that are full of spiritual potency and power. So on those days we do extra spiritual activities. We try that. That's why we fast, to show our bodily detachment. We show that we are not this body. I'm your servant, so I'm going to stay away from too much bodily engagements like eating or other sense gratification, sexual urges or whatever, all kinds of things you fast from. So fasting implies that I'm not this body. I'm going to give up this false ego, this bodily identification for today, for those hours, and try to be a servant of the Lord and immerse myself in devotional or spiritual activities. So that, because that day is very powerful and I'll get mercy of that particular form of Lord. um, because sometimes people say, oh, unka janamdin hai ya birthday hai, so why should we suffer? Why we should be eating more? We should be enjoying more. But actually this is our show of surrender, show of detachment from this body, that we are not this body and we need mercy from you. This is my sacrifice. Please accept this as a show of my sacrifice and service to you, that I want to become your servant, want to become your devotee. So give me more spiritual strength and empowerment so that I can follow the regulative principles and follow the devotional service in my life. So these days are very powerful. These are called Madhav Tithis or Vishnu Tithis, when Vishnu Tattvas come. So we should make use of those days. Does that make sense?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, definitely.
So it's not like Lord is trying to torture us, but we take upon us these austerities to get His mercy.
Very nicely explained, Mataji.
Okay, I'll pause. Let's sing. Nagarjuna Prabhu wants to sing, so I'll stop this this discourse on Nityanand Prabhu, and we'll just continue singing. Couple more bhajans, I think. Thank you everyone for joining. Nityanand Triyodashi ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna.